Good afternoon. With that, I'll kick it off with your questions. Jonathan, Carl.
Hey, Sean, it's been a full...
Jonathan.
Thank you. Sean, it's been a
You're out
full...
of practice.
No, it's been a full 3 days since the president said that President Obama had his wires tapped, his phones tapped at Trump Tower. In those 3 days, has the White House come up with any evidence whatsoever to prove that allegation?
Yeah, I addressed this multiple times yesterday. I think the president, we put out a statement on Sunday saying that we would have no further comment, and we were asking the House and the Senate Intelligence Committees to look into this concern and report back.
Did the president just ask the FBI director to
Well, I think no, the president has not, and I think that we've gone back and forth with you guys. I think there is clearly a role that Congress can play in its oversight capabilities. They made it very clear that they have the staff, the resources, the process. I think that's the appropriate place for this to handle. I think if we were to start to get involved, you would then write stories about how we were getting involved. So it's a no-win situation. I think the smartest and most deliberative way to address this situation is ask the House and Senate Intelligence Committees, who are already in the process of looking into this, to look into this and other leaks of classified information that are troubling to our nation's national security. So, as the president said in the statement on Sunday, we believe that investigation, as well as the investigation of other classified leaks and other important information that threatens our national security, be looked into by the House and Senate Intelligence Committees, and then we encourage them to report back.
I'm trying to get some clarity on something that my colleagues have tried to follow up on as well. You've said that the president stands by his tweets Saturday morning, that President Obama ordered this wiretap. You've also said that the administration wants Congress, and let me just be clear, he said he found out this information. You've also said that the president wants Congress to investigate. Some members of Congress, by the way, have asked the White House and asked the president to come forward with that information. So bottom line, why would the president want Congress to investigate for information he already has?
I think there's a separation of powers aspect here, as I mentioned to Jonathan, that we think it's...
Why waste that?
Well, it's not a question of wasted, it's a question of appropriateness.
The president has the information. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. If he's sitting on this information that he found out, he's now directing or asking or recommending that the intelligence committees look into this. And you talked about they have resources and staff, which they do.
Right.
But why expend those resources and staff if the president found out this information and hasn't?
I think there's a difference between directing the Department of Justice, which may be involved in an ongoing investigation, and asking Congress as a separate body to look into something and add credibility to the look adds an element that wouldn't necessarily be there if we were directing the Department of Justice, for example. But again, I think we've made it very clear how he wants this done and where we go from there. So,
second question then. Millions of Americans are working on their tax returns right now. Will the president commit to releasing his tax returns for this year, and is he still under audit for his past returns?
My understanding is he's still under audit, and I'll follow up on the questions. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.